In 2000, China's nominal GDP was $1.2 trillion, accounting for 3.6% of the world's economy. In 2018, its GDP was $13.6 trillion, accounting for 16% of the world's economy. China's military now has over 2 million active personnel, over 3,000 aircraft, 13,000 tanks, 40,000 armored fighting vehicles, and 714 naval ships, making it the third strongest military in the world, behind the US and Russia. China has transformed into a world superpower and is continuing to grow rapidly. So, how powerful will China really become? Well, to measure a country's power, one of the first places to look is the economy. Since 2000, China has grown from the 6th largest economy in the world to the 2nd largest today. For the last 2 decades, due to numerous infrastructure projects and expansion supporting policies, China has experienced immense and consistent growth, with its GDP staying above 6% annual growth for nearly 30 years. And yes, even though these numbers are likely altered for political purposes, they are still mostly accurate and incredibly impressive. On top of that, China's inevitable economic slowdown is projected to last a long time, allowing China's GDP to prosper for decades to come. So, it makes you wonder, will China surpass the US as the world's largest economy? Well, if you extrapolate current growth trends, China will pass the US in less than 20 years. But that method isn't always reliable. Back in the early 1990s, Japan's economy was growing immensely, and by extrapolating lines, researchers predicted Japan's GDP would pass the US sometime in the mid-2000s. But that never happened. Japan's growth slowed, and today its GDP sits $15 trillion behind the US. So basically, if China's economy keeps flourishing, it could surpass the US within a decade. Or it could hold the same fate as Japan. Regardless of this, it will most definitely compete with the United States as the world's largest economic superpower. Now, to the most important aspect of a country's power, the military. When it comes to active military personnel, China has the largest force in the world, with 2.2 million people. China also ranks number 1 in the world for towed artillery, with over 6,000 units. On top of that, it ranks 2nd in the world for combat tanks, armored fighting vehicles, and self-propelled artillery, giving it the 2nd strongest land force on the planet, after Russia. China's air force is also very strong, with over 2,700 fighter and attack planes and 1,000 helicopters. Despite having only 1 aircraft carrier, China's navy contains a vast number of small warships, with over 280 patrol vessels, corvettes, and frigates. Its navy also has the most submarines in the world, with a total of 76 nuclear and diesel-powered subs. More important than all of this, though, China has the largest population and the greatest industrial output in the world. With a population exceeding 1.4 billion people, in the event of a large-scale war, China could potentially assemble a military force exceeding 100 million. And with the largest industrial output on Earth, China could mobilize its nearly 3 million factories into the largest war machine ever witnessed. Lastly, one of the most important parts of a country's power is its nuclear arsenal. When it comes to nuclear weapons, China is 4th in the world, with roughly 280 nuclear warheads. Compared to the US and Russia, this number is tiny, but it still matters. Fortunately though, China has been relatively open with its nuclear deployment information, and in 2010, Beijing enacted a no first-use policy, which ensures that China would not use its nuclear weapons first in any future armed conflicts. So, we know that China has already become very powerful, but to the ultimate question, just how powerful will it be in the future? Well, Beijing is actively pursuing its China Dream, a plan to become a world power with global ambitions. Among these plans, military modernization is the top priority. Not only is China planning on increasing military expenditures, it also plans to further boost infrastructure spending, strengthening roads, rails, ports, airports, water, energy, and telecommunication systems. This improved infrastructure, combined with the massive expansion of China's middle class, is part of Beijing's plan to transform China into a fully developed, powerful, first world country. Finally, along with all these internal changes, China is rapidly increasing its international influence. From 2005 to 2017, China invested $495 billion into Europe and the US, and hundreds of billions of dollars more into other smaller countries around the world. These actions were largely due to business interests, but maybe more importantly, for financial reliance and political alliances. China has also created pro-Beijing think tanks all over the world in an attempt to shed positive light on the Chinese government. In summary, China has become a world superpower and is continuing to grow by expanding its economy, improving its military, modernizing its infrastructure, and spreading its global influence. So, what do you think about the future of China? I'd like to hear your opinion in the comments. Thank you for watching, and goodbye for now.